Hello everyone. Now we are going to implement a new mini lab that is going to convert a student's grade from numerical number to letters. First, let's create a new class named student. So please follow each step. Let's first create a new class that is a student. And within these students, let's see, we should give it a name, right? The student's name, private. And currently we don't consider each courses. We just need to consider the average for his course. Okay, so let's say a private double. We are using the average to stand for his whole grades. And then average is there, and then we'll have our constructors. So for example, me, I got 20, 20, 20 for my three courses. So the average grades for this semester is 20, right? And we will have a constructor to initialize, like new an object, 处风 20. So here, let's write our constructor, public student. Don't forget, the constructor is always has the same name as the class name. Student. And since we have two attributes, right? So we will include them in the constructor string name, okay, string name 1 and double average. Average 1. Okay, within the curly brackets, we are going to assign the value. So this dot name, we pass the name 1 to the object's name, right? Okay, it seems that there's some problems with it. Student, what's the problem? Let's have a look. Method body expected. Okay, we are implementing it. Oh, here. It's supposed to be a comma, but I wrote a semicolon there. So that makes a mistake. And once we pass the name to the object, we'll have to pass the average, right? Here, to think it in a more complex way. So what if the user input a wrong value, like -1? Okay, you know the grades cannot be a -1, right? Otherwise, the course instructor is too horrible. So we will have our consideration, like if average 1 above 0, that means this average score is valid. So only in this case, we will pass the average 1 to this object. And of course, it is not only above 0, and it is supposed to be smaller than like 100, right? So it's average 1 smaller or equal to 100. So actually, in the next week, next week is an exam. Maybe in the next week of the next week, if you have learned logic operation, and then you will know how to combine these two Boolean expressions together. But currently, let's just separate them. This dot average, and we assign the average 1 to the object's average. Awesome, and that is the constructor. Once we have our constructor and for an object here, oh, I have a typo here. And we should also include our getter and setter method, right? So let's see whether there is another way that can be used by the IntelliJ that can help us to implement the getter and setter method. So build, refactor. I think in the IntelliJ there is somewhere that it can create the getter and the getter and the setter. Let me see. Okay, let's go to the code. Okay, sorry. Click the code. Okay, sorry. Just put the cursor, put the mouse there. Don't click code and generate. Click it. Okay, and you can see there are some functions. Okay, we write our constructors by ourselves, but we can try to using the built-in getter method. Let's have a look. We select these two, and then let's click the OK. Okay, as you can see, it creates the getter method for us, right? And let's do for the setter method. Code generate setter. Okay. Oh, as you can see, the IntelliJ can create the setter method for us automatically. And let's move the constructor forward. So now we have our setter and the getter. However, to be consistent, we'll have to modify the set average, right? Like this. So average, we can change it to average. If the user pass the average one to it, we will firstly make our decision that whether the average one is valid. If it is valid, we then pass the average one, or we say here we using the average two, okay? Don't make me confusion. And we pass the average two to the object's average. And the others can stay unchanged. So once we have this method, let's think, what are we going to have to convert the numerical score to the letter? It seems that we'll have to include a getter method for the letter grade, right? So let's include public the literal grade is supposed to be a string type, right? Get letter grade. Okay, it's a getter method. So within the curly brackets, let's see. First, we should declare a string instance that is letter grade, right? We initialize it as empty. And let's make our decision here. If average, and this is referring to what? To the average 1, average 2, or this average. Let's stop for seconds to see which is referred to. So I think this is referred to this dot average as well. It is only to convert the object's average, right? It is not the parameters passed to the set average and the constructor average one. It is only this average. But it has some problem with it, right? Let's complete it first. So if this average, right, over 90, okay, we convert the letter, we set the letter grade as A. Else if average, we say above 80, and we set the letter grade as B, right? And we can copy and paste. $70, we say it's a C, and 60, we set the letter grade as D. And if it is below 60, okay, this is only an else fallback. So we set the letter grade as F. And then we return the letter grade to this method, right? So once we complete the whole method that converts the letter grade to the converts the numerical grade to the letter grade, and all the errors has been removed automatically by the IntelliJ. Okay, this is the get letter grade, and that is done with the student class. And next we will write a text-driven class, that is the student test. So let's click the source folder and right-click to create a Java class. That is a student test. So within this test-driven class, let's create our main method, PSEN, right? And here, let's create 2 students, okay? For example, student 1, new, oh, sorry, new student. Okay, we should give it like 主峰下, right? And with average, I don't want to be 20. I want to be 61. I'm a peaceful people, that as long as I can pass, I'm satisfied. Oh, but the average is supposed to be a floating point number, right? Let's take a look. is supposed to be a double, so we'll have to include the decimal point here. And let's create another student. That is student 2. We give it a name like Lian, right? Lian Zhang. And we set the average for Lian Zhang is 85. Okay, he is much better. So after that, let's print out the student's letter grade, okay? Salt. You should modify it as printf. So we use a placeholder to pass the student's name. Letter grade, right? It's percentage S. And then we give it a new line. Student 1 get name, right? We will fetch the name and then student 1 dot. We will get the letter grade that we just wrote in our student class, right? And then let's copy and paste it. Student 2. Student 2. All right, let's try to run this test file. Okay, let's see. Okay, as you can see here, Chu Fengjiang's letter grade is D. Lian Zhang's letter grade is B. Why? Okay, let's trace the program. As we said, Chu Fengjiang's average grade is 61, right? We are going to get the letter grade, and in this constructor, we will initialize Chu Fengjiang's average grade as 61, right? And the 61 will go to the get letter grade method here. This average. So that means once we initialize Chu Fengjiang's average, and the average will be indicating here, and compared to the 90, 80, 60 something, until okay, it finds that the average is above 60, which it satisfies for this Boolean expression. So we will set the letter grade to be D, right? And then we will return the letter grade D to the caller, which is here. This is the caller, and we set it to the placeholder here. So that's why Chu Fengjiang's letter grade is D. And the same logic applied to Lian Zhang's grade, which is referring to the 85. All right, and that is the end for this mini lab. So trying to practice by yourself, and especially when you are writing your nested if-else statement here, you may make some mistakes, and then you'll have to practice to correct it. So if you meet something problems that you cannot solve, just post a thread into the discussion board, and I will reply to you to help you to debug your program at my earliest convenience.